Last week, me and my friends flew all the way from Omaha, Nebraska to Corvallis, Oregon to participate in our first hackathon ever, BeaverHacks 2026. And we lost, bro. We lost. I sound sad about it, but we kind of expected to not do good. When we were going through the hacker intros in the BeaverHacks Discord, every single person that was posting had more experience than us. For reference, we're all sophomores. I did my first internship last year and we just used Flask and PostgreSQL. And for fun, I made this NBA Wordle type of game in React where you can do the classic game mode, the career path, Central versus Centel, which is like real versus fake tweets, and like a higher or lower game mode. Play it while you can before I get an insane cease and desist. When I asked Joey what he had before the hackathon, he said he's developed scalable B2B SaaS solutions which leverage cloud-native architectures to drive enterprise digital transformation initiatives. TK did some front-end work with React, I think, at one point. And lastly, Hamid, great person, greater friend, did not know what Claude Code was and did not know what a hackathon was. Loki was just there for vibes. With the super team assembled, we got to work and produced Peak. Oh shit, that's the wrong one. Peak. Let me paint the picture. You start in the stars with a simple question, asking what you want to learn. After you type something in, we go flying downwards until we reach the mountain that we need to climb. The mountain is filled with waypoints, each having a task varying in difficulty based on how high up you are on the mountain. These tasks are like mini challenges that are supposed to help you achieve whatever your goal is. Once you complete the climb and reach the summit, you are flown back up with a list of stats and another prompt asking the next skill you want to learn. For our first project, we were proud of it, We thought we did pretty well, especially on the UI, which we got the most compliments on. However, there were some issues on the project that definitely prevented us from going further and maybe getting top 3. Technical depth was definitely our biggest gap because at the end of the day, all we were doing was calling the Claude API and having it return a JSON, and then we would match it to our TypeScript objects. Some other issues were you couldn't have more than one mountain. Waypoint routing wasn't randomized.
Route generation was kind of bad.
Could lose
Waypoints
the whole
cameras
game.
would just completely
click on
locked
waypoints. If you want to
waypoints.
learn chess, it tells you to draw arrows at pawns. Is this one real? Oh my gosh, it is. There's a few things I want to add before I consider the project portfolio ready. Number 1 is detour routing. If someone's stuck on a challenge, I want to give them a secondary waypoint that they can use in order to get to the next waypoint. Number 2 would be a seamless camera. There's a lot of bugs that's happening when you go in and out of a waypoint and it does not feel nice. Number 3 would be multiple mountains. Right now you only have one, and if you input a new skill, it'll override it. Lastly would be making the waypoints placed randomly on the mountain. This one's kind of a small one, but currently their positions are hard-coded, and in my opinion it makes every path feel the same. In terms of coding, the plan is to do all of this without AI. Okay, not exactly, but let me explain. Using AI to code is the standard now, and we weren't going to be any different. At one point, I hit my limit on Codex and Claude Code, so at 1 a.m., I claimed a month worth of Gemini so I could keep prompting. The problem with this is that I slowly stopped understanding what was in the code because I just got too lazy to read what the agent produced. So that's why for these changes, I'm going to be turning Claude into my personal tutor using the Agent MD. With all of that out of the way, let's actually start coding. Alright, just to go over the project real quick, we have V and React front end, and we have a TypeScript Express. Are you listening? Hello? Yo, wake up, wake up, wake up. As I was saying, the project is split up into 3 layers. The AI layer, the server layer, and the web layer. Most of the changes that we're going to do are going to be in the web layer, which is the area that I understand the least about. I wanted to start off by fixing the camera because it makes the website feel so clunky in its current state. I want it to be very smooth and make it feel like you're in one scene, and when you click on something, you're able to just zoom in. So the actual problem was that when you clicked on a waypoint, you were navigating to a completely separate detail page that redrew the whole mountain in a slightly different way. This would make the trail shift and the camera would kind of feel like it teleported. The first fix was architectural. I pulled the mountain, trail, and waypoints into one persistent scene component that stayed mounted behind the app. Now the route page and the waypoint detail page are basically just UI layers sitting on top of the same mountain. Here's what it looked like before.
Wait, is this teleporting?
Zoom out has to be better.
And this is what it looks like after.
Oh my gosh, it's so smooth. Fang needs to
so
go what's your setup?
crap.
Big zoom out.
Here's what I was thinking, but really it went like this. Now that we're done with the camera, it's time to move on to detour routing. In the project, the routes work linearly. The route is just a list of waypoints. And I also track which waypoint is active by counting how many items are in a completed waypoints list. This is something I needed to consider when deciding how to implement detours. When it came to actually implementing it, I had two options in mind. The first one would just be generating the detours along with the original route. The pros to this are that it uses fewer API calls and is really easy to implement. All it would be is an added optional detour list to the route schema. The cons are that it would lead to a lot of unused detours, and the detours wouldn't be very personalized. The second option would be to generate a detour per problem based off of their submission. When a user submits something, it's graded on a pass or fail, but the AI reasons through why it should be that, so we could use that to provide a more tailored detour. The pros are pretty obvious. It would be a super tailored detour, and we would only make what we need. The cons are that it would cost more, there's a pretty big wait time for generating a detour, and it would be more work. I decided to go with option 2 because I'm a masochist, and after doing some talking with Codex, I figured out it wasn't that hard to implement. All I had to do was make a separate detour type so the main route could stay linear, update the feedback so it would store more info, that way the detour is more personalized, and then create a generate detour function that calls Claude's API. Okay, I think it works now, so I'm gonna demo it. Okay, so our task is to draw our robot design on paper, label at least 3 parts, and then take a picture and upload it. Okay, I'm gonna use MS Paint for this. Okay, let me make sure that I pick a good one. Okay, we're gonna go with Tenz's head. Gonna go with the body of Tyler 1. Ooh, shit. You know what, it works. Okay. Alright. Good enough. Boom. Then we gotta label it. Boom. Okay, let's submit it. Hopefully it fails. I can see you wrote some labels like Tens and Felker, but this doesn't show a robot design with parts like wheels, bodies, or sensors. Try drawing a simple robot shape and labeling 3 parts to help it move or do something. Okay, and then take the side trail. Boom! Wait, okay, and then we go back and it should be there. Where is it? Okay, so this button is broken, but if we press back to mountain, here it is, our little detour. This is so cool. Now we just have multiple mountains and pathing, which shouldn't be too hard, right? Now, the logic side is actually really easy. I can just use local storage or Supabase if I'm feeling up to it, but that's more work. The actual hard part is coming up with a good UI for it. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but my visuals are garbage. One of the main principles for one of my websites is that there's barely a UI and it's just a thought dump scattered everywhere. After some brainstorming, I had an idea that I thought wasn't terrible. If a user wants to switch mountains, you fly up into the sky and pick from a list of floating words. Then after you click one, it enlarges and pulls you back down. I was struggling implementing this because I hate front end, but after some mining off camera, I got it to work. Here's the finished product. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. The go up button is in the shape of a mountain, which I think is super cool. And the sky animations look really good, especially when you're just idling selecting a mountain. Going up and going down feel really nice. With these 3 changes, I feel like the project is something that I'm actually proud to show off, even though the changes themselves are pretty small. I want to eventually keep putting more work into it, but for now, I am done with this project. Is that? Oh, hell no.